you are going to learn why politicians in sports, they just don't mesh. So Marco Rubio put out a tweet. Imagine if an NFL team was trailing 24-22, but in the final seconds hits a 3-point kick to win.
Marco Rubio, during his presidential run, he had an ad where he was pointing out how he was a football player.
Yeah. So
he was an athlete.
By the way,
he was a football athlete.
A 3-point kick, by the way. You know, in my world, it's actually called it's called a field goal.
Three-point kick. It's 3-point kickoff.
He went a little further. I am being roasted for 3-point kick tweet about election. Why? You think everyone who follows politics knows what a field goal is? Yeah, you dumbass. Besides, it's absurd to claim I don't know what a field goal is. That's all my Dolphins have scored for 9 straight quarters. Again, my Dolphins. Hang on. Roy Bellamy of the Dan Le Batard show thankfully swooped in and was like, this is incorrect. The Dolphins have scored a touchdown in the 4th quarter of the Jets game. That was 5 quarters ago. Let the roasting continue. I have that for a second. Let the roasting continue. You scored a goddamn touchdown, you fucking dweeb. So here's where we get into everything that I've wanted to do for many years. Jayar Jackson has no idea the videos that I've cut. This is politicians and sports just not getting along. We start with this, cringeworthy Marco Rubio and football.
One of the best things I've ever gotten to do is to work with you guys. Okay, this team got better every week. You played a great game. Sometimes in life you're gonna win. Sometimes things aren't gonna go the way you like.
I don't know of any better teacher of life lessons in sports. To take a kid aside and say, what just happened wasn't just about football. You're gonna face something like this in life. Remember the lesson you learned today and reinforce that for him. And I really enjoy doing that.
All you gotta do is get in front of him. If I'm the receiver and I go this way, all you gotta do is get in front of you. That's it.
Can I make a comment real quick? If you continue to put your hands on a receiver and stay in front of them while they're going down the field, not that Marco Rubio would know this term, it's called pass interference.
Okay.
Your reaction? We have a lot to get to, by the way.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I want this to be bang, bang, bang.
It was fun. It was really fast. It's just the guy, he was speaking to children on the football field like he was talking to supporters in his political speech. Like, just talk to him like you're a coach. I was like, man, that looks like a politician trying to act like a coach. So, moving on.
By the way, newsflash, that was a politician trying to act like a coach. So here's number 2 of many. George H.W. Bush bowling.
He left him in that position. I knew it.
He loves being in that position. So does every Republican with Donald Trump. So the amazing thing is we actually have a 3rd version of him bowling. Take a look. I thought of that. I'm taking credit for it. Okay.
I hate to be a stickler for details, but the man was trying to bowl with his 2 top fingers on top of the ball. It's under, my man.
Yeah.
So he's trying to flick it.
Do the
That's why he fell on his
right?
ass, or on his ass up.
Well, he was, that should have been the other one. Girl, you look good when you back that ass up. All right. This is Ted Cruz not understanding any sort of terms in the sport of basketball.
Bruce, I want to ask you something. Do you have a tape measure with you? You know, the amazing thing is that basketball ring here in Indiana, it's the same height as it is in New York City and every other place in this country.
Basketball ring. He was quoting Hoosiers.
Yeah.
Here's the line from Hoosiers, by the way.
Measure this from the rim. How far? 10 feet. I think you'll find it's exact same measurements as our gym back in Hickory.
That's what he was quoting.
Can you go measure that basketball ring? And put the spherical-shaped object through it, please. Stupid ass. Come on, he's got to stop trying because it doesn't work.
Apparently
he went to Indiana. This is during the presidential run, so he did not win that one. But you go to Indiana where people know what they're talking about. See, like I'm gonna go on an edge and just talk about something I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Totally fair point. I went to Indiana University. Okay, these people really know their basketball. I mean, like really, like in Bloomington. Yeah, the football team's there. Cool. Like you go for the tailgate. You got to get fucked up. But then for basketball, it's like, oh. We gotta be into it, and they are. They can tell you everything about Calbert Chaney and Steve Alford and Bobby. Like it's a basketball-driven town.
I went from to go and talk to high school kids in Texas about football because they eat, breathe, and drink their football there too. So go there and talk about football next, Ted.
Or by the way, PSA to Ted Cruz: don't talk. Next, Bush Jr., George Bush, and basketball.
There's an old saying in politics, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, when things are going bad, you just need a good bounce. Well, let's take you to a piece of video from the White House today that shows President Bush is in one of those ruts at the moment. Boom. There's a chance the president trying to dribble there.
He was such a child. It was more like on the 7-year-old, like.
What his little hitch reminded me of is when Will Ferrell does his impression on SNL when he's like, internets.
Yeah.
Right? All right, so now we get to the biggest asshole of them all, Donald Trump. Remember Puerto Rico? Here's a refresher. Now that's not all that we have. We have Donald Trump failing at tennis, by the way. Take a look.
What the matter? I thought I could hit it anywhere. He was hands up like, why are you guys upset?
All right. And then we have Donald Trump playing volleyball. Here's what he looks like, all right? Rah! He looks like the guy who takes intramurals too seriously. Am I right? Or am I wrong?
God.
Thank you, Edwin. Thank you. Anything
the one who makes jerseys with the names on the back for intramural sports? Yeah. Those guys.
No. The guy who, like, you don't need the parents when they're playing in the pool. And the one shot that Gaylord Amvacher has is going above the net, spikes it, hits the bride-to-be in the nose, breaks her nose. That's Donald Trump in volleyball. Continuing on. Mitt Romney also boxed a professional boxer in Evander Holyfield. And he bit his ear.
This is similar to Vladimir Putin when he was skating around at the national. I think it was the Russian national team hockey team, and he was. They let him skate by him and stuff. It looked like those things whenever they have like a kid come out on the field and they act like they're gonna attack him because they want him to feel good because the kid is sick or something. Yeah. Those things they do on football fields, and those are touching.
Yeah.
But then it's a grown ass man. Why are we doing this? Why are you diving? Do that for the children. Save that for them.
Yeah. Agreed.
Come on.
Agreed. But regardless, even Russian TV was like, inaugurate our Donald Trump. That makes sense. I'm just gonna cut myself off there. We're gonna skip ahead here to Paul Ryan not understanding anything about sports.
I want to win this election so darn badly that I am willing to do this.
That's House Speaker Paul Ryan waving the terrible towel, a Pittsburgh Steelers tradition, while talking to the Pennsylvania delegation at the Republican National Convention. The only problem is that the RNC is in Cleveland, home of the Steelers' rivals, the Cleveland Browns.
I want to win this election so darn bad. Come on, man. First off, we would assume is a Packers fan. I think he's talked about it before. He's from Wisconsin.
Oh, Packers fan.
So we assume he's a Packers fan. I don't really know much of a Steelers AFC versus Packers, NFC. I don't know, man. Am I missing the rivalry? Because it's so darn bad.
Badly.
You know that rivalry. Come on, man. Stop.
How dumb are you?
And also, by the way, it's a running joke that politicians cater to whatever city they're in and act like they like the team.
Except Paul Ryan.
Just when you openly say, I'm willing to win this so bad, I'm going to do this that you guys know I don't really mean. Doesn't that mean that you're openly saying you don't really mean it and we don't give a shit about you?
Have y'all ever heard about the term enemy of the people? Well, I want to do that to you today. All right, we got two more. Hillary Clinton. Yep, got to throw her in because she had this gaffe.
You a Yankees fan too?
Well, now the fact is, I've always been a Yankees fan.
I thought you were a Cubs fan.
I am. I am a Cubs fan. But I needed an American League team because when you're from Chicago, you cannot root for both the Cubs and the Sox. I mean, that's, there's a dividing line that you can't cross there.
There is a dividing line you can't cross there. Is she from Chicago?
Let me make something very clear. I don't care.
When you're from Chicago.
Make something very clear. There's two teams that you root for when you're a fan of that respective team. For example, I'm a Cubs fan. So what do? I root for the Cubs and anybody who plays the Sox. I don't root for the White Sox. I root for the team playing the White Sox. It's sort of like if you're a Red Sox fan, you go, I support two teams. I support the Red Sox and anybody that beats the tar off the Yankees. That's it.
Straightforward.
Nothing more to it.
My kid is a huge Dodgers fan, right? And he likes the Blue Jays too because they're in the AL. And it's like, cool, yeah, my mom is from Toronto. All that whole thing, he likes it. That's a 6-year-old.
But he also understands, like, his mom was born there, right?
But that's a 6-year-old logic to be like, I need 5 teams to make sure I don't have any losses.
Totally. Lastly, Chris Christie.
Christie took part in a charity softball event Monday. The governor is a former high school catcher.
What's the difference between now and high school, Governor, putting on the uniform?
I'm 40 years older, 35 years older, that's about it. All right, so that's the biggest difference.
Christie's team won 7-6, even though he didn't get a hit. Christie went 0 for 2, including this ground out. Despite this ball stumble, the governor seemed to enjoy himself.
He went over to in a softball game.
The biggest difference.
I have a broken foot, and I could at least get on base.
He was mad. He was mad they asked him, and especially in that way, what's the biggest difference, Chris? He's like, what's the biggest difference? Fuck you mean biggest?
Don't laugh. Don't laugh.
No, I'm saying he picked up on that word. That's why he said the biggest.
Right.
What's the biggest difference? 35 years, motherfucker. That's it. That's the only thing.
Did you see him on the midterm election coverage? He was a panelist on like CNN.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I forget which one he's on. I know
like
he's on
NBC or something like that. I was shocked that he was there. All right, regardless.
And while we're on Chris Christie and baseball, look up Chris Christie in his baseball uniform. His tight white
Why
pants,
be able to sleep?
His pants in the uniform. Look it up. Trust.
Understood.
Look it up.
Thoughts? Comment section below. We'll see you soon. Do you guys want full TYT episodes? Yeah! So download YouTube TV and get a 7-day free week trial.